The mile marker that moved, the long drive through nowhere. It was 11:43 p.m. on a deserted stretch of Interstate 93, cutting through rural Nevada. The road stretched endlessly through the desert, flanked by nothing but dead brush and the occasional rusted sign. Darren Lewis, a 34-year-old truck driver, was hauling a refrigerated trailer to Phoenix. He'd been driving for hours, hypnotized by the rhythm of the yellow lines flashing beneath his headlights. The radio fizzed with static before cutting to silence. Even the CB channel was dead, not a voice in miles. Darren rubbed his eyes and spotted a green highway sign ahead, mile 247. He checked his logbook. He'd passed that same mile marker nearly an hour ago. "Guess I'm losing it," he muttered, taking a sip of stale coffee. But when he looked up again, the same sign reappeared, mile 247, glowing faintly in his headlights like it had been waiting for him. The voice on the CB radio Darren tried to shake off the fatigue, flipping the CB back on for company. Static hissed for a moment, then a faint voice broke through, a man's, low and urgent. "Keep driving, but don't stop," it said. "Whatever you do, don't stop. Who's this?" Darren asked, leaning closer. No reply, just heavy breathing, then a burst of static. He glanced in his mirrors, and nothing but darkness behind him. He looked forward again. The same mile 247 sign was there, closer this time even though he hadn't slowed down. His GPS flickered, the map spinning aimlessly before freezing. The display read, "Route recalculating. Stay on current road." A light appeared on the horizon, faint red, pulsing. As Darren approached, he saw it wasn't a light at all. It was a flare burning in the middle of the road, and beside it a man waving frantically. The stranger on the road Darren slowed down, his headlights illuminating the man. He was dressed in torn jeans and a reflective vest, face pale, eyes wide. The man staggered toward the truck, motioning for him to stop. "Accident up ahead," he shouted, voice trembling. "You gotta turn around." Darren leaned out the window. "You need help?" The man shook his head violently. "You don't understand. It's not..." His words cut off as he looked past Darren toward something behind the truck. His face drained of color. "What?" Darren asked, turning around. "Nothing, just dessert." When he looked back toward the road, the man was gone. No footprints, no flare, no trace. Then, in the rearview mirror, a figure standing beside his trailer. Too tall, too still. He blinked. Gone. The CB crackled again. "You shouldn't have stopped." The endless loop panicked. Darren pressed the pedal and tore down the highway. The truck roared against the silence, tires screaming on the cracked asphalt. He glanced at his odometer, 34 miles since the last marker. Then headlights cut through the dark ahead. Another green sign. Mile 247, his breath caught in his throat. The same sign. The same shape of the desert hills in the distance. Even the same dead coyote by the shoulder. He slammed the steering wheel, yelling, "No! I passed this." His GPS beeped again. This time the screen displayed a message he'd never seen before. Mile 247 reached. Repeating route. The static returned, louder, deafening, until it shaped into faint words. "You're not driving anymore. Darren." And then the truck's headlights flickered, revealing a dark figure standing directly in the road ahead. The figure in the headlights he swerved, barely missing it. The truck fishtailed before stopping sideways across the asphalt. His breathing came in ragged bursts. The headlights caught the figure again, only now it was closer. It wasn't human. Its limbs were wrong, its joints bent the opposite way like a puppet made of shadow. Its eyes glowed a dull, unnatural red. It raised one hand and pointed toward the desert. Darren slammed the truck into reverse and hit the gas, but the wheels spun uselessly. The engine roared, then died. Silence. He grabbed his flashlight and climbed out. The air was colder now, biting, sharp. He aimed the light toward the figure. It didn't move. Then he noticed it was standing next to a sign. A brand new one, still shining. Mile 248. He'd made it past the loop, but the figure was smiling. The next driver, at sunrise, a highway patrol officer, found an idling semi on the shoulder near mile 247. The trailer was empty, doors swinging open in the wind. The cab was deserted. Driver's seat pushed back, radio still crackling faintly. They ran the plates. Registered to Darren Lewis, last known stop at 2:16 a.m. No sign of him anywhere. Later that afternoon, another trucker passed the same stretch. His radio suddenly came to life with a voice, "Keep driving, but don't stop." He laughed it off, assuming it was a prank, until he saw the mile marker ahead, shining brighter than usual. Mile 247. A shape stood beside it, arm outstretched, waving frantically for him to stop. He slowed down just enough to see the face illuminated by his headlights. It was Darren. The woman by exit 42. The night shift commute. It was a freezing February night on Interstate 80, just outside of Lincoln, Nebraska. Snow whipped across the asphalt in thin white ribbons as Kelly Ramirez gripped the steering wheel of her Subaru, heading home from a double shift at the hospital. The road was nearly empty, the only sounds the hum of her tires and the soft hiss of wind against the car. She checked the clock. 2:37 a.m., just 30 more miles and she'd be home. As she passed exit 42, she noticed something strange through the blowing snow. A figure standing on the shoulder. A woman in a light blue dress, barefoot, her hair whipping across her face. Kelly slowed instinctively. The woman wasn't moving, wasn't signaling for help. She just stood there, head tilted slightly toward the oncoming headlights. When Kelly's beams hit her face, the woman smiled. The first encounter, Kelly's heart hammered as she drove past, catching only the pale blur of the woman's face in the rearview mirror. "Just a trick of the light," she whispered, shaking her head. But something gnawed at her, that dress. It looked like a hospital gown. A mile later, her radio flickered, switching from music to static. Then faintly a woman's voice came through, calm, measured like an old recording. "Please don't leave me here." Kelly turned the volume down, hands trembling. "No way," she muttered. She took the next exit, intending to circle back and check. The snow had nearly stopped. But when she returned to the stretch near exit 42, the shoulder was empty. No footprints, no tire tracks, no sign anyone had been there. Then, as she pulled past the exit ramp again, she noticed something that froze her blood. Her passenger seatbelt was buckled. The passenger Kelly's chest tightened. The seatbelt fastened tight. She reached over with shaking fingers, pressing the buckle release. It clicked open, the sound unnaturally loud in the silence. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Thank you for coming back." She slammed the brakes, scanning the rearview mirror. Nothing but swirling snow. Her headlights barely pierced the white fog now settling on the road. Then something breathed in her ear. Just one word. "Home," Kelly gasped, jerking the wheel. The car skidded sideways before she regained control. She pulled over, engine idling, chest heaving. "You're overtired," she whispered to herself. "You're hallucinating." But when she looked at the fogged passenger window, a handprint appeared on the glass. Small, wet, and fresh. The police report at 3:09 a.m. Kelly called Highway Patrol from her Bluetooth, voice shaking. "There's someone on the highway near exit 42. She looked lost, maybe injured." The dispatcher paused. "Ma'am, are you sure of the location?" "Yes, I saw her. Stay in your car. Officers are already en route," the voice said quickly. "Do not approach anyone." That phrasing unsettled her. Minutes later, flashing blue lights appeared through the storm. 2 troopers approached her window. One leaned down, asking, "You said you saw a woman?" Kelly nodded. "In a blue hospital gown. I think she needs help." The older trooper's expression darkened. "You're not the first to report her." He glanced at his partner, then back at Kelly. "There was an accident here in 1994. Woman named Linda Harper. She wandered off from the crash. They never found her body." Behind them, the police radio crackled with static. Then Linda's voice, "I just want to go home." The return to exit 42. The troopers searched the shoulder and nearby ditch, but found nothing. They thanked Kelly and told her to head home. Reluctantly, she got back on the road, promising herself she'd forget the whole night. But 20 minutes later, her dashboard lights flickered. The heater shut off, and the radio began cycling channels. Each station whispered the same line in faint, overlapping voices. "Take her home." The GPS rerouted on its own, glowing blue in the darkness. "Destination exit 42. "Not happening," Kelly muttered, gripping the wheel tighter. But her steering wheel jerked on its own, turning the car toward the ramp. The headlights illuminated the exit sign again, and there she was. The woman, standing directly in the center of the road, smiling faintly, hand raised as if to hitch a ride. Kelly slammed the brakes, tires screeching against the ice. The aftermath. The next morning, a tow truck driver spotted Kelly's Subaru parked neatly on the shoulder by exit 42. The doors were locked, engine running, headlights still on. Inside, everything was perfectly intact. Purse, phone, half-empty coffee cup. No trace of Kelly herself. The only oddity was the passenger seatbelt, buckled tight. Police later checked the dashcam footage. It showed Kelly driving calmly for several minutes. Then the camera flickered, static distorting the image. When it cleared, the passenger seat was occupied. A pale woman in a blue gown staring straight into the lens. At the end of the clip, the car slowed near the exit. The woman turned her head toward Kelly and smiled. Then the video ended abruptly, replaced by a single frame of text burned into the footage. "Thank you for taking me home." The rest stop on Route 191. The lonely stretch just after midnight on Route 191 in northern Arizona, 27-year-old Liam Porter drove his aging Toyota Camry through the desert silence. He was heading from Flagstaff to Moab after visiting family, determined to make it before sunrise. The road was a black ribbon cutting through a red wasteland, not another pair of headlights for miles. His only company was the faint hum of the radio and the occasional flash of highway signs half swallowed by sand. He'd been driving for hours when his fuel light flickered on. "Damn it," he muttered. He hadn't passed a gas station since Kayenta. Then, as if answering his thought, a faded sign appeared ahead. "Rest area 1 mile." Relieved, he pulled in minutes later. The rest stop sat in eerie isolation, a single bathroom, 1 soda machine, and a flickering streetlight buzzing like an angry hornet. He didn't see the black sedan parked in the far corner. Not yet. The stranger in the restroom, Liam, left his headlights on and walked toward the restroom, gravel crunching beneath his sneakers. The air was dry, heavy with that metallic desert chill. Inside, the fluorescent lights flickered weakly. The smell of bleach clung to the cracked tiles. He stepped into a stall, but froze when he heard the door creak open behind him. Slow footsteps echoed across the concrete floor. "Hello?" he called out. Silence, then the sound of humming, faint, off-key. It was an old tune, something from the 1950s. Liam peered under the stall. He saw a pair of worn black dress shoes. They faced his stall, motionless. Then slowly the shoes turned around him and vanished, as if whoever wore them had lifted straight off the ground. Liam burst from the stall, heart pounding, but the restroom was empty. Only one thing stood out now. Every mirror was fogged, except for one, which had words written across it. "I shouldn't stop at night." The sedan's headlights. Trying to convince himself it was a prank, Liam hurried back toward his car. The desert felt wrong now and too still, too heavy. His breath formed faint clouds in the freezing air. Then he noticed it, the black sedan parked at the edge of the lot. Its headlights were off, but the engine idled softly, a low growl cutting through the quiet. Liam's nerves spiked. He could just make out a figure sitting in the driver's seat, motionless, watching. He jumped into his car, locked the doors, and turned the key. The engine coughed and died. He tried again. Nothing. Then from the rearview mirror, he saw the sedan's headlights flare to life. 2 bright circles slicing through the dark, aimed directly at him. Liam's hands trembled on the steering wheel. Come on, come on. The sedan's engine revved once, then began rolling slowly toward him. The game of light. The sedan pulled closer, too slow to be a normal approach, more like it was studying him. Liam threw open the glove box, found his flashlight, and stepped out, shouting, "Hey! You okay?" No answer. The windows were pitch black, reflecting only his pale face in the beam. He circled around it, tapping on the glass. I said, "Are you all right?" The engine stopped. Liam exhaled shakily and leaned closer to the driver's window. Inside, the silhouette of a man sat perfectly still, hands on the wheel. But as Liam's flashlight hit the face, he froze. The man's skin looked waxy, artificial, like a mannequin. And the eyes, painted on. Suddenly, the car radio inside blared to life, the same off-key 1950s tune he'd heard in the restroom. Then the sedan's trunk popped open with a metallic click. Liam took one hesitant step toward it. Inside, something moved. The thing in the trunk. The trunk light flickered as Liam's flashlight beam wavered. A heavy plastic tarp lay folded inside, its edge stained dark. The smell hit him, iron, rot, old oil. He gagged and stepped back. Then the tarp shifted. Something underneath it was breathing. Before he could react, the sedan's headlights blazed again, blinding white. Liam stumbled backward, shielding his eyes. The trunk slammed shut on its own, and the engine roared to life. The mannequin behind the wheel turned its head toward him. Liam sprinted to his Camry, slamming the door shut and twisting the key. This time the engine started. He threw it into gear and sped out of the lot, tires spitting gravel. In his mirror, the sedan followed, headlights steady, silent, relentless. Every time he accelerated, so did it. And every so often, through the glare, he swore he saw something new behind the wheel. A real face, watching him. The vanishing rest. Liam drove for 20 straight miles before daring to slow down. The sedan had vanished from sight, swallowed by the desert night. His chest still heaved with adrenaline. Finally, he pulled into the next gas station, an old Texaco on the outskirts of Bluff, Utah. The attendant, a gray-bearded man in a denim jacket, looked up as Liam staggered in. "You look like hell, son." "There was a rest stop back on 191, Liam gasped. "Just before the state line." "You know it?" The man's expression turned blank. "I ain't been a rest stop on that road for 20 years. Liam frowned. "No, I was just there. Bathroom, soda machine, everything." The attendant shook his head slowly. "That place burned down in '03. Guy in a black sedan torched it after they found something in his trunk." Liam felt the blood drain from his face. Behind him, through the dusty gas station window, 2 headlights appeared on the empty road, waiting.